nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on walking, marching up the freedom way. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. Oh, turn me around. Oh, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking. I'm gonna keep on talking, marching up the freedom way. One more time. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. 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 Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking. I'm gonna keep on talking, marching up the freedom way.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I am a student, author, and advocate. At the age of 15, a very pregnant 15, I was sentenced to 2 consecutive life terms and served over 31 and a half years before the Honorable Governor Roy Cooper commuted my sentence. There are 136 people on death row and almost 100 juveniles serving a life sentence. I was threatened with the death penalty at the age of 15. Whether sentenced to death or not, prison in itself is a death sentence. Prison empties your soul and robs you of who you are and who you could become. My son would have never known me, and I would not be here today if it wasn't for the compassion and valiant act of Governor Cooper. Governor Cooper could leave the legacy of more miracles that could occur only through the power of clemency, one of which could be to commute those who have been sentenced to death. There are hundreds that deserve a second chance. Prison is a billion-dollar industry. Those billions of dollars would be better served toward prison reform and mental health services in hopes to undo the trauma of incarceration. Please continue to advocate for those inside of the carceral system. Never allow their names to go unspoken or their stories unheard. As the National Council would say, none of us are free until all of us are free. Thank you.
All right, give it up one more time for April, y'all. You don't know how difficult it is.
Peace and power, everybody. My name is Kerwin Pittman, as Christy Puckett said. Great introduction. Most importantly, I'm just somebody who languished in the cage for a long time. When all the titles and all the, the glitz and the glamour go away, I'm somebody who spent 11 and a half years in the carceral system. My whole 20s was spent inside of the carceral system. In the carceral system, I lost and found myself, right? And it wasn't because of the state. Make no mistake about that. The state wasn't meant and provided programming to rehabilitate nobody. I did it because I wanted to make a change. I did it because one day when I was in solitary confinement, out of my many stints, particularly this stint, 365 days I was sentenced to in solitary confinement, I looked in the mirror after about 10 months and realized that, Kerwin, you got to do something different. You got to change. You got to do something different. So I know today we're out here demanding that the governor end the road, do something. Yeah. And of course, me being an organizer, the first thing I thought of was a chant. I'm going to say, we won't go. I want y'all to say, free the road. We won't go. 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 Free the road. Governor Cooper, we are out here demanding, because I think at this point asking says a subtle tone to it. We're demanding that you free the road. We are demanding that. You have to be firm in your stance, And for me, it's just something about asking. It's just something about asking. If we witnessed the brutal murder of George Floyd happen, would we have asked Derek Chauvin to get off of George Floyd's neck? Would we have asked that, y'all? No. Would we have asked that? No. Definitely not. We would have pushed him off, but most importantly, our actions would have demanded that he get off of his neck. My sister paraphrased it great earlier. Right now, the state is on the neck of those who are on the road.
That's right. That's right.
And guess what? We won't go. We won't go. We won't go. Today, I guess for me, speaking is a call to action because I'm preaching to the choir. Y'all here. It is a call to action to take this message to other people. This should be packed. This should be packed. I'm going to say it one more time. This should be packed, full of people. So this is a call to action for everybody out here to spread the message, spread the word, put pressure, most importantly, on the person who's in a position to make a difference. I'm going to say it again. Put pressure on the person who's in a position to make a difference. Until then, we won't go. We won't go. We won't go. Now, we all know that death row is extremely baked in racism, white supremacy from its inception. We got to call it how it is, y'all. That's what I mean. Tell somebody. You have to call a spade, and you have to be unwavering in what you say. Sometimes when you dial it back, what you're doing is giving a pass to racism, white supremacy, and these racist structures to continue to thrive and continue to be alive. Y'all got to call it how it is. Wherever you go. But most importantly, we won't go. We won't go. And I keep saying that because I want that to be embedded in your minds. When you get to the point where you feel like you wavering, you tired, you got to tell yourself, we won't go. This is what you have to tell yourself. You have to stay in this fight. Because though we sit out here and advocate for these individuals, people right now are sitting on death row and don't know what their future gonna look like. We gonna go back to our lives after this rally. It's Saturday, we're gonna go back, find us something to eat, go do whatever we do. But it's gonna be people still on death row. You have to leave with that on your heart and that in your mind every time you move. Every time you move is extremely important. And I'm not gonna hold y'all too much longer. As I sat and thought about the death penalty, what I would say, I wrote down a bunch of stuff, y'all. But of course I ain't saying nothing because for me, it's about speaking from here, right? When I thought about the death penalty, I said this ain't nothing but modern day lynching. I thought about strange fruit hanging from the trees. This what went through my mind. When you really think about it, this is nothing more than modern day lynching for public display. And it's one person who can make a difference. And until that person make a difference and choose to free the road, guess what? We won't go. We won't go. Governor Cooper, we won't go. We won't go. Governor Cooper, we won't go. We won't go. Governor Cooper, we won't go. We won't go. Thank y'all. Peace and power.
No longer deemed a human being, so what you're now seeing is state property, a 21st century commodity, a child of God made out to be a monstrosity. You see my shackles, but you don't see how the poverty locked my spirit in chains, or how a lack of equity and equality had my hopes go up in flames. I'm filled with animosity because this country has no shame. They stripped us of our culture and our God-given names. Now they're using the criminal injustice system to do the same thing. So here I stand, no longer a man, but reduced to state property. I was birthed by bigotry and corporatism fathered me. They tell me that in America, you can enjoy the fruits of your labor, but I don't see a pear in sight. Capitalism has been leeching off of my labor like it's a parasite. They tell me that God speaks through me and people can rarely bear the sight of my truth since they're new to it. We're the unlikeliest of messengers from God, but no less of a conduit. And people are quick to shun something when they see a conduit. And it doesn't matter who sits in the White House because there's no avoiding the hell that I'm facing. In America, we've had 46 different masters, but it's the same old plantation. COs ain't nothing but overseers and mass incarceration. That's how they keep us enslaved. In my time behind bars, I've learned to stop questioning God, and I've started to question humanity. They look past my eyes and don't see the man in me. Busting my fist against this stone wall just feels like insanity, and no one wants to empathize with the calamity while corporate America is running my life single-handedly. And if this were a game of chess, then our colonizers will be yelling check because they constantly have our black kings in mate. Now companies are getting checks to turn our black kings to inmates. People look at us and don't see people and consider us cons first. I'm not Chuck Taylor, but some might consider my words a converse. We're deemed as workhorses and free labor, getting paid pennies on the dollar, conceding so much paper. We might as well be considered as human fee waivers. Then they throw us things like tablets and phones thinking that they're doing us a favor when they're really just exploiting us and our families, bleeding us for our paper. So I tell you what to take to the Senate or to the governor's mansion. How are they gonna give us free tablets and charge us to read by the minute? My entire life has been upended. People that look like me are more likely to be sent to the penitentiary and receive a death sentence, so I could care less if you're offended by my truth. We know that the death penalty has racist roots, but each part of this system ain't nothing more than poison fruit. Thank y'all.
We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved, just like a tree planted by the water. We shall not be moved. Do that again, I can't hear you. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved, just like a tree that's planted by the water. We shall not be moved. Young and old together. Young and old together, we shall not be moved. Young and old together, we shall not be moved, just like a tree planted by the water. We shall not be moved. Singing for our freedom. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome today. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome today.
Before we do it again, find somebody to hold hands with them.
And if you don't want to hold hands, touch elbows. And we're going to sing, We Are Not Afraid today. We are not afraid. We are not afraid. shall overcome.
We shall